There's an unbelievable level of anger, outrage on the streets of Delhi. And to talk about it, we're joined by the person who's responsible for administering the national capital, the Chief Minister, Mr. Sheila Dikshit joins us. I'm also joined by my colleague Padmaja Joshi. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us in Headlines today. We went out to India Gate, Jantar Mantar and elsewhere. The anger is unbelievable. People very frustrated, very angry with the system. As the person whose responsibility it is to govern the capital, do you feel personally responsible for what happened?
I feel responsible and angry like everybody else is. But I'd like to correct you, and I'd like to correct this perception that law and order is with me. It is not. I govern everything except law and order and land. These are somehow peculiarities of Delhi. So I'm not directly responsible. I don't transfer anybody. I don't put anybody. I'm not told who's going to be the police commissioner or who's going to be.
You've told me this earlier in interviews as well. Given the mood in the city at this time, people don't care. As far as they're concerned, you're the face of the administration. You're the person they know. They want answers. They feel vulnerable. They feel unsafe.
I empathize with them. I sympathize with them. And I feel one with them. Because if their anger is there, mine is equally there. Because they feel helpless and they feel this should not happen. I feel equally helpless and I feel this should not happen. Not in the capital city of this country. And this kind of a dastardly, cowardly, inhuman kind of a rape and almost an attempt to murder also is just not acceptable.
And who are you angry with? Who do you think has let down this girl in particular and women in Delhi in general? Do you think the police has completely let them down?
This is not an easy question to answer. I think the whole situation, the whole system, we've had rapes before and all, but not this kind of a inhuman situation. The police let them down in as much as it should have acted much faster than it did. After all, this whole episode which took place must have taken about half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that. The police should have been the bang on. Society as such, but I can't even say anything in this particular case by society because everybody is outraged, and as you said, the anger is there. I can feel it myself. I think it needs greater study and greater changes. Police is not responsive. Our system of governance, of law and order is not responsive.
People want to know who will be held accountable. Do you think heads should roll, responsibility should be pinned down?
I think head should roll. I really think...
Whose head should roll?
I wouldn't say whose head. Because you have it down the line, you have the Home Ministry, you have the Lieutenant Governor, you have the Commissioner, all of us know them. But who is responsible for that area? There must be some SHO, DCP or whatever they're called. Somebody should...
Because an example needs to be set.
Yes,
so that other police people move faster in similar situations.
Absolutely, I think so. And I don't know, when the inquiry, when an inquisition takes place and it goes to the court, greater details of the truth will come out. Now we are only guessing. This is
Have you spoken to your colleague, the Home Minister, asking for action to be taken against errant officials?
I have written to him. The very first person I spoke to and wrote to was Mr. Murugesan, the Chief Justice, and I must say he was very prompt. I said these fast-track courts should be made, and he did make them, and he notified them because we had decided about 2-3 months ago. But I don't think you can say that if you make a fast-track court, it will come out. Or you make a police, more responsive, it will finish. Or society. I think there has to be a collective. Something has gone wrong with us.
What do you think has gone wrong?
I think the reactions and actions of a society, the police has become outdated and outmoded. It's become too complacent. It feels like it hota hi rehta hai, or something like that. Till it has hit them like a bomb now. I'm told that 600 odd rape cases have been there already this year. They didn't catch anybody's eyes, so they were dropped. But this one did, because it was so gruesome and so unusual. So the response of the police should have been much faster, much quicker. And I can only assume and imagine that had it been so, this may not have, we could have saved this girl.
I also want to ask on behalf of all the girls that I've spoken to through the last 4 days, especially at various locations across Delhi, they felt that they did not get any sort of reassurance from the people who really matter. You, the Home Minister and the Prime Minister as well. Even Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, when she went to Safdarjung Hospital, she said, I demand justice for this girl. Everyone on the streets is saying she should be giving justice to people who are looking up to her and to you.
No, that's very wrong. You see, you give justice within the contours of a judicial system. You don't give justice otherwise. It's a different matter that in personal things you give justice. You do what you can. But the courts or the law of the land takes its own course. Really, everybody's. If Mrs. Gandhi was upset, I am upset, Prime Minister is upset. Can you imagine anybody not being upset about it?
Just from your heart, can I request you to just say one thing which you think will reassure all the women who are out on the streets of Delhi, because every single person I spoke to felt it in their gut. For them, this was a recollection of what had happened to them when they were standing at that bus stop, they were traveling by the metro. Can you, as Chief Minister of Delhi, say the one thing to them that will reassure them?
I'm sorry, it cannot be a recollection. It can only be a fear that it could happen to them.
No, it's a recollection because it's happened to them.
They have gone through this.
Every woman we've been speaking to has got stories of how someone felt them up, somebody harassed them. Every woman, I thought it would happen just to the odd person. Everyone we've been speaking to has got one story worse than the other.
No, I'm not too sure of this. You see, there have been people coming here demanding that, there should be, hanging for this kind of a thing.
Do you think there should be capital punishment because you met this girl?
I think so. There's an option, but I'm not sure. We've asked Indira Jaisingh to make a draft for us to see what we can do. And I hope that that draft will be ready in the next 10, 12 days or 15 days. And we'll send it to the Government of India and say, please do implement this.
For this
there
case
should
or for
be
all
a deterrent,
cases?
a strong enough deterrent to stop people from doing this kind of thing. They can't get away with it.
Because given the gravity and just the horror of this case, you think that capital punishment is the way to go? A stronger deterrent is needed?
It could be capital punishment, it could be imprisonment for life. That's something they have to do. But it has to be strong enough, send a strong message, and which acts as a deterrent that you cannot get away with things like this.
But given the background of the accused, they are history sheeters. They've got a past track record of having teased women, etc. Clearly, the law that we have in our country right now is not deterrence enough. This business of imprisoning people for 7 years, do you think that needs to be increased to life? Some people are asking for chemical castration, others are saying death sentence. Apart from this case, what do you think is a longer term, stronger deterrent?
No, I think we should have reforms on this, especially in barbaric acts like this.
All rape is barbaric.
All rape, and even otherwise, as you said, if the people are teasing each other on and this thing. What we decided in our small way, because we are not directly, we cannot influence. Yes, we can influence through our opinions, which we've done. We've started a 24-hour women's cell. I hope it will be operational by Monday or Tuesday, which then comes from the Chief Minister's office. We put officers there so that they can get in touch with the thanas. Because what I'm told, that even in the thanas, when women go there, they're scared of going there. At least a bus stop is an open place where, people are around most often. They're scared of going there. And there was supposed to be, this was decided about 4 years ago, that there will be a woman officer there. And most of them have told me that they don't find a woman.
And even the PCR vans.
Yes,
PCR
vans.
No, but what happens in these situations, ma'am, is that there is an outpouring of anger for 72 hours, for a week. And then life goes back to normal. Sab chalta hai.
नहीं, कमल जी, ये तो जीवन ऐसा है. इसको मैं ना इसको बुरा कहती हूँ ना अच्छा कहती हूँ. But what has given us a lot of, I hope, a short treat in each one of us, pricked everyone's conscience on this, that you need to do something. You really need to. If you remember, you were probably very young kids at that time, or not born even, when they had this Billa Ranga case. It just got everybody. And things did, because of the punishments that both of them got, because they'd also murdered those kids, the brother and the sister. So it woke up. Now this is, I think, a wake-up call. I mean, I'm putting it not very nicely, but it's something that we really ought to see the future. How do we train our policemen? What are their responses? Do they have enough systems in place which are modern enough for people to reach out? But the mobile and all, it should not be difficult at all.
Now, we spoke about the punishment, but the other important thing is deterrence. They shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Yeah.
The other aspect of this is there aren't enough boots on the ground. What is really a sore point for people is that of the 80,000 strong police force, a majority of them going to VIP security. The message that people are getting is, we're left to fend for ourselves, VIPs get their security. Do you think that should be checked now, and how, ma'am?
You see, I think there are two ways of doing it. A, you cut on this VIP security. Sometimes the VIP security is really useless. You find people, VIPs going in their guarded cars or whatever it may be, and you find policemen standing on the route also. Why are they standing there? They're doing nothing. And if God forbid, if something was to happen, they would hardly be the people to save them, because they're already in safe cars. So they should be taken off the duty. Now these are things which a police force ought to work out.
No, but the police will say they're under pressure. I have some statistics.
Pressure of what pressure?
No, pressure from the politicians.
No, I don't think so. For instance, I dislike all these fellows standing around me. They impinge on my privacy, this, that, the other. I don't want them. And if I find 2 people extra, I'm used to about 3 or 4 of them around me, I said, why is that? I immediately ask my staff. So it's not that.
And would you be willing to send back the policemen on duty at your house,
sure, anytime.
back to the force,
take them
back to patrol the streets?
Yes, you do. You take them from me just now if you want.
No, because in Delhi...
Because the choice is not mine. It's the perception of the police. The threat perception that the police may have, or the intelligence people may have about a person. No person wants that. There may be some who might say, well, if I have a beacon on my... very often people tell me, oh, it can't be difficult for you to go through a traffic jam. So I say, what do you think, my car has got wings that I fly through a traffic jam? I stand there.
No, because in Delhi, there are 20 cops to guard every 1 VIP. And every 364 Delhiites has 1 cop guarding them. That's the most warped, skewed ratio.
No.
Yes.
No, I'll tell you one thing. Remember, you are guarding a VIP. But where the common people are concerned, if the figure you're saying 360 per
one citizen,
it's actually 760. It's actually 760. You don't need, unless it happens to be a war situation, you should have a society which is good enough. It does not require this. And there are enough to patrol all the time. Their visibility and the fact that they are there is in itself a deterrent. You see?
But nobody's scared of the cops. I've seen so often, if you see at India Gate, people are doing all sorts of stunts on their bikes. They've got swords out, they've got chains out. The police in India doesn't evoke any fear. It's so corrupt as a force. People don't care. They know they'll get away.
Now this is something what you've hit the nail on the head. We need to think about it. How do we bring credibility and confidence back into the police force?
Do you agree with the High Court when it says people have lost faith in the police?
I agree. We do it myself. I was a kid, and when we used to see a policeman, we say, don't do this, the policeman is around. Now nobody says, police wala kuch bhi nahi karega. So you see, this is there. There has been a change. What has happened is, Kapilji, what I feel is, that we have not kept with the changing times, and times do change. You require the kind of population you have there, the kind of society you have here, and the policeman is still going with his lathi. You find many of them going with
but lathi is not the only problem. You know that all you have to do is pay a couple of $100 and he'll let you go.
Their language hasn't changed. So that you go to a thana, you go there out of sheer despair. Because, you feel that pata nahi kya hoga, likhega, nahi likhega.
No, we carried a sting operation on our channel, ma'am. And in that sting operation, SHOs in the national capital were caught on camera saying that women bring rape upon themselves. They never go into a car unwillingly. Dekhe the kaise kapde pehne hue the. These are SHOs who are supposed to investigate these cases.
You can't do that. You can't.
No, but no action was taken against them.
No. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You need to change the mindset of the policemen only through training them.
Why is it not being done there?
Well, that I think is something you ought to ask the police commissioner. You should do that.
No, he says he's too stretched. That he's got a very limited force. The population is too big, so they don't have enough time for things like gender sensitization.
I'm not so sure whether you're too stretched or so. Even if you are stretched, then you need to train more. Take in more recruits or whatever they are called, train them more. And you always have, if you are adding on 600 in a year now, make it 800, 1200, 1000. So that can
One of the other things, ma'am, a lot of women feel very strongly about is curbs on their personal liberty, especially after this incident and even before that. And now we've seen so many politicians, you've gone out and said it, the commissioner said it, that you don't want women to be out late at night. And women say, why should somebody be telling me what I should?
I've never said that women should not be out at night. No.
You said that women shouldn't be adventurous, shouldn't be traveling really late.
No, I've never said this. Never said this. How can you curb anybody from going out? After all, if you're treating citizens of the same level, and there's no difference between you and her, then why should I be telling everybody? It's up to them to decide what they want to do or not to do. Nobody says anything. How can I tell anybody, or you tell anybody? How can you tell me that why are you wearing this, or why are you going out? No, I don't know who's done this mischievously. I've never said it.
And two, three points where I actually come as a representative of the people that I have spoken to. There were 3 main points that they wanted to petition you about. First, do you think it's time that the Delhi government takes control of the Delhi police? Because ultimately you're held responsible whether you're not, for the law and order situation. Second, can we have better street lighting? And third, can we have better and safer public transport in Delhi, because that is what a majority of women in Delhi use?
Well, you have a very safe and very good public transport, metro.
But ma'am, the metro aside, I take the metro every day. I step out of the metro at Rajouri Garden, and after that I have to take an auto at 10:30 at night. It's not safe.
But that is an auto is not a government transportation. It's this thing. They need to change this thing. There is something wrong with the thinking where they think they can get away. They charge you much more. They know that they blackmail you and say,
no, but I wouldn't even step into a bus at that time of the night. If there was a marshal probably at 10:30, I could.
If you should step into a bus, you should be able to do it, because there was an incident many years ago, somewhere near Kutub or something, where an incident took place, not of rape, but some, teasing. Anyway, that stopped. People learned their lessons. When you're talking of, I should get the law and order. I have been asking for it. I've been saying it, that the local government is the face of the government. You know, 90% of the people don't even know. They know that we elected the Sheila Dikshit, and why isn't she doing it? This is something. I agree with you there. The problem is that I have said it for the past 12 years. There have been committees, and the Moily committee, and the Balkrishna committee, and the Ved Prakash committee, and all you've said. Law and order and land should go with the Delhi government, but they don't do it. Whatever their reasons may be.
No, because we interviewed the police commissioner, he said that as a professional, he'd rather report to the Ministry of Home Affairs than to the Delhi government.
So that's
why is that, you think?
I don't know. I really wish I could tell you. That psyche.
After this episode, will you push for
You asked me a question, why aren't you taking it? I said, yes, I'd like to, but if I'm given it now. I also said that keep the VIP and the diplomats' security with you. We don't want to, because I don't think any state government is capable of looking after that. That's more sophisticated. But ordinary law and order, I mean, I've gone to the extent of saying, when we met 2 days ago with day before yesterday, with all the lawyers and the Delhi University Vice Chancellor and Naina Kidwai, corporate sector, NGOs and all, we had about 20-25 people. And I said it in front of them, to the commissioner, police commissioner. I said, Neeraj ji, if there is a building which is being built, your policeman is there within 24 hours. How does he get to know that the building is being built or being broken down or expanded or another floor added on? And how come he does not know that there is a woman in distress or there is a citizen in distress? Tab kyun itna time leta hai?
What did he say?
Didn't have anything to say. I said, this is the impression people have of the police. That you try and put your house in order, You want to repair it, or you want to, change it, or whatever it is, legally. And so he'll be there to ask for his pound of
Do you
cash.
think migration at some level is to blame for
Yes,
all these rapes?
there is, I wouldn't say migration per se, but the fact that it becomes a corridor. But one state, all got different states all around it. It's surrounded by states. So it's easier for a criminal to come in here, do whatever he wants to, and run away, he or she, whatever it may be. So there is that speciality of Delhi, or peculiarity of Delhi, the nature of Delhi. But then we have to work with it.
No, but there are also two Indias, the Bharat, the India. At one level, there's a growing frustration amongst a certain set of people that they're not as with it as a certain other set of people, and that disparity which keeps growing, do you think at some level
but Kamalji, they come here to be able to earn, na? They come here because it is better for them to be here. How can you stop anybody from coming in here? If you have the right to live here, so does anybody else.
No, absolutely.
And
no, but you have to deal with that. Do you think we've been unable to deal with it?
Yes,
do you think we've been unable to deal with this problem?
Because the movement sometimes is, as I said, across states. And these peripheral expressways that we are supposed to make, they might help to some extent. That people don't go through the city when they go from, say, Haryana to UP, or UP to Rajasthan, or whatever it may. But these are measures which need. But I think, Kamalji, which is something which you're not touching upon, which I'd like you to touch, we need to change society's mindset also.
Ma'am, speaking of society's mindsets, on that note, I would like to ask you, how can society change when that kind of mindset is reflected by our own political class? You've got members of your party who said the most reprehensible things about women. Mr. Sanjay Nirupam yesterday, in fact, spoke about Smriti Irani. But people take a cue from that.
Don't talk of my party.
When you talk about women,
don't talk about my party.
Actually,
it's all across the
all
board.
across the party. I agree. The political class. The political class,
there are
ma'am,
people
the
person who's just got elected a third time, and my heartiest congratulations to him and all the rest of it. People have elected him.
I agree, the 50 crore girlfriend remark.
You can't make kind of remarks personal. In politics, the first lesson we were taught, and still I would like to teach it, you don't make personal comments. You comment on my work, you may comment on my inefficiency or efficiency or lack of sensitivity or the policies that I follow. Yes, fine.
But that is a letdown on the part of the politicians across party lines. They mirror that kind of mindset which is picked up by society, ma'am.
You're making it too simplistic. That say, if the politician did say this wouldn't happen, the police didn't say. I think it has to be a holistic and all-round change.
But ma'am, there are crucial legislations which have been stuck in Parliament. There's the Women's Reservation Bill. There's the Criminal Amendment Bill.
Yes.
But that has been stuck because it's not considered important enough.
No.
Why not?
No, it's not that it's not. Has Parliament been functioning? But
it functions when there's a vote bank at play.
No, wait a minute. You know that in the past 2 or 3 sessions, for whatever reasons it may be, for political reasons, Parliament has not functioned. But that's a totally different debate. I don't want to.
No, but I don't buy that argument because there's no vote bank at play. Because the middle class viewer who's watching this broadcast doesn't vote as a bloc.
The middle class.
The quota reservation bill got passed. Politicians found the will to do it because their vote banks are at play, ma'am.
Nah. Maybe so. You do so many things which, because you would like better viewership. She would do that. I would do something like that. I don't go into that. But one thing is there, that at least where political people are concerned, they have to get re-elected every 5 years, minimum. Or maximum rather, not minimum.
And the
maximum.
middle class gets shortchanged.
You chuck anybody out. You chuck this one out or you chuck that one out. So it's the will of the majority people.
Okay.
Now please, now the thing is that where this is concerned, where this rape incident is concerned, I think we all need to look at it. What can our contribution be towards not allowing such a thing to happen again? All these things that you're seeing around Delhi is the anguish of the people. They've expressed their anguish, which they normally don't. Nobody is bothered about somebody else, so you know them. So if we can see that, that's a lesson that all of us need to learn.
Madam, on that note, I would like to ask you, how will you be contributing to make sure that Delhi is safer? Because that is something that I can assure you every single woman and man is Delhi is thinking. What is your reassurance Can you put it in so many words?
I cannot, I will take steps. I'm going to organizing, it will be ready in another week's time, a campaign against crime against women in something called Awaz Uthao, Bolo, Kuch Bolo. And we're also, as I said, told you, we've set up a cell if we do that. We've got a lot of gender resource centers, 140 of them. We're going to sensitize them over there with women. And we are going to also put it on the website, and also said that in our Delhi setup, administrative setup where we have the deputy commissioners, if they can liaise with the police more. They are not supposed to, because they are supposed to be two. But I think the time for compartmentalization is over. The time to be able to exchange and put our shoulders together has come.
As we end this interview, ma'am, what's your message to husbands who are worried about their wife's safety, mothers who are worried about their daughter's safety, and fathers who are so concerned that they don't want their daughters to be going out at all, day or night? They feel unsafe. They're watching and they're saying, just stay at home, don't go out at all.
No, I wouldn't like this kind of fear to continue, and I hope it would not. And we all need to put our heads together, because the police is bad, administration may be bad, but there are people in society also who are doing it. What can we do to change that mindset of the society?
What can be done to change the mindset?
Society evolves itself.
No, you shape what society does.
No,
you guide society,
levels,
you lead society.
No, there are various levels of society. There are some people who know their limits, some who don't. I mean, these are systems of evolution that can happen. Kamalji, this is far too difficult and tough a question that you asked me. And I would say, all right, let's have a debate on it for a whole day. We can sit down and say, you do this and let's do that. But there are certain norms on which a society does function. And if the norms are not being followed, and if they have become immune to them, in a changing scenario, about 15 years ago, you wouldn't find any woman on television at all. Now you find them all over. You have to accept this. The society has to accept it. Kabhi ladkiyan aayengi, jayenge in all workplaces. All these BPOs or whatever they are, all over they are there. So I think it's a changing society. We can't, a woman is not a unusual thing which is seen out in public anymore.
But ma'am, it's still dangerous for us. I work on television. We're there all over television, but I still go back home at 12:30 after midnight.
I'm sure
and I don't feel safe in Delhi.
Your company drops you home.
It does.
Yes,
but
sure.
But despite that guard being there, I'm sorry, I'm having to say this, but ever since this happened, it's touched a chord with everyone.
Yes,
I know that girl was out with her friend. What good will a guard be when I'm out in that company car? So how do things change for us?
If you think that your guard is not going to be enough, then what makes you think that policeman is going to be enough?
Because the police is the law.
Is the law. It represents the law. So law has to be followed by all of us. But this is a debate which we can carry on and on. All that I can say right now is I hope this will awaken the police system, the system of governance, laws that need to be changed, courts that need to be set up, and the thinking of the people.
Okay. Madam, as we end this interview, all I can hope for is that this anger doesn't dissipate and that the outburst leads to permanent change.
I hope this anger will lead to change, the changes that need to be done to make everybody feel that we are living in a comfortable, safe city.
Your words have been reassuring. I hope your actions too instill confidence. Madam Chief Minister,
whatever
for joining
action
us.
I can do, I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.